Let's talk about needing space in marriage without compromising the deep, intimate connection that you two share. If you're like me, you're probably the type of woman that loves love and deeply cherishes your alone time, your self-care, your self-love, your routines, your moments of connecting with your inner child and your creativity and your expression and your joy. So if you are trying to navigate both and have it all, where you can have deep connected intimacy with another person and just pure blissful solitude also, then this episode is for you. Hello, if we haven't met before, my name is Sana. I am a feminine energy embodiment mentor, and I am also the co-founder of Growth Club, which is a membership community based in LA for conscious conversations where we go beyond small talk over elevated dinner parties and experiences to connect you deeply with who you truly are and get you out in community so you can connect with others as well. So if you're in LA, check the link out below. Our spring cohort applications are open, so if you know anybody in LA or want to be in the club, then join us. This episode is so near and dear to my heart because if you don't know my personal story, my husband and I actually lived in our own apartments while being happily married in New York City because I was craving more space to figure out what my feminine essence is. And New York apartments are so small, you barely have space for fun and activities. So I needed to move into my own apartment. At first, it started with me getting a studio space and having a space to work and have my creative flow. But the more I started to think about it, I was like, what if we were to just get our own apartments? When we were dating, we always had this desire to just like really enjoy our independence and shared connection in the moments that we share it. And he thankfully is a very strong, healthy, masculine man, and he didn't get any sort of issues with me wanting more space and wanting more freedom and wanting more autonomy. So one, the key is to make sure you have a secure partner who can honor the feminine need and desire to just like go into her own bubble for expression, for healing, for joy, for whatever she desires. Because the feminine needs space to fully emerge. One, express her feelings fully in a safe space so that no one is like judging her. So she has to be non-performative. If you're constantly with a partner and you're constantly spending all your time with this person, I can almost bet you that you have never fully expressed your most primal expression of self. And I know that like even in the most loving, connected, sacred connections, there is an element of individuality that is needed in order to be in a healthy relationship. It's healthy to have things that are just for you and that you don't share every single little thing with your partner, because then you kind of lose your sense of self and you kind of mold and become this one entity, and that leads to codependent habits and dynamics. So if you're somebody who really is just feeling a little exhausted and just really tired and feeling like that you don't have any energy, it's because you're not filling up your own cup. Even if you are doing self-care practices, you're not actually tapping into your energy and your essence and your aura and your primal way of being, because you're just doing it for performative actions. You're doing it because you saw it on TikTok or Instagram that, oh, taking a bath is going to lead to self-care, or taking myself out on a solo date is going to make me fall in love with myself. And when you're trying to activate your feminine energy from a place of performative action, she's not going to feel safe to emerge through you naturally. So this is why having space that is just yours to do whatever you freaking want, whether it's paint or dance or cry or rage or move your body in the most authentic primal way of being and expressing, you're always going to be in this energy of performing and needing external validation and wanting to be heard and seen and valued by others rather than tapping into this like deeper inner confidence of like, I know who I am and I love who I am and I don't care what anybody else thinks or says, not from a place of negativity, but from a place of freedom and liberation. Because when you're so rooted and grounded in who you are and just being in your own energy and loving it and not being afraid of being alone and not being afraid of spending time with yourself and not being afraid of feeling your feelings to your fullest capacity and not being afraid to just try a hobby and sucking at it and doing it anyway because it simply brings you joy. If you don't allow those things, then your entire feminine essence is simply just not going to emerge through you. And this is why when you are a high achieving woman, you're going to hit burnout if you don't allow this natural feminine essence to emerge through you, because that is your life force energy. It is your Shakti. It is your primal essence that is like the energy giver. So if you're constantly trying to get energy from external people, places, and things in order to feel better, in order to have more energy, in order to perform, then you're going to be in this vicious cycle of burnout. So you're going to be pushing in your career, hitting accolades, getting your money and doing the things, and then you're going to feel completely empty when you do get it. And not only are you going to feel empty, like maybe you'll be happy to have it, but it's going to be fleeting and it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to feel like you get to sit in that enjoyment for a long time, because you're not also honoring this whole other side of you that wants to be so deeply nourished and cherished and just so beyond loved. That's the body, right? That's the soma. That's why somatic healing and somatic movement and somatic modalities are how we can really tap into our energy, really tap into our chakras, and really find where's the energy blocked and how can we allow this energy to flow through all of our 7 chakras from up and down and up and down. It's not about just awakening and activating and reaching enlightenment. That's what a lot of people think is enlightenment. And yes, like that's great. And you can reach like inner peace, but then keep going. Like there's more to life outside and after inner peace. There is also unconditional love. There is also liberation and freedom. And there is also impact and legacy. So you get to keep going. Like there is no end destination. Like the universe is ever expanding and so is evolution for humanity. So there is no like, okay, I got there and now I'm done and now I can check out. Like if you want to, go ahead, no hard feelings. But if you're a high achieving woman, most likely you want to keep going. And in order to sustain that keep going energy, there comes a time where you need to rest, rejuvenate, relax, and become a relaxed woman who shifts from achieving and doing to receiving and attracting. And that comes from the energy that you master from within you. So let's go back to how we can implement this in our marriage, right? So for me, the way I do this is Sundays and Wednesday evenings are literally my me time. Like I don't really know what I'm gonna do on Sunday, what I'm going to do on Wednesday, but they're always going to be alone. My phone's going to be on do not disturb. My husband knows not to bother me. My whole world gets to be completely put away. And all I do is ask my feminine energy or my inner child, what do you want to do today? And I do that. So sometimes it's taking a hour-long bath and then writing. Sometimes it's painting and then dancing. Sometimes it's sewing and then sucking at it and getting frustrated and then putting it away and then just like crying, because sewing is something that has been really frustrating for me lately and I just don't know why, and I have to learn how to get better at it. But again, I'm excited to learn and grow, and I'm excited to go on that journey of feeling like a beginner simply because I have a hobby that's interesting to me, not because I want to make money from it. So this space is literally not for work. It's not for my personal growth. It is not for my personal development. It's not for anything other than simply being a human and wanting to do whatever I want. And there's so many times that we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect and have a purpose and have an intention behind everything that we do, that sometimes you find yourself in a box that's not even yours, that is based on cultural programming, based on your family's expectations, based on like society's definition of success versus your own. So I really think it's important for women to have time away from everyone and everything to tap in. And this practice that I do allows me to tap deeper and connect deeper with my intuition and my gut. While I'm like creating or while I'm in flow, I'll get like the most beautiful messages from somewhere or something. And I know it's not like me because it's just like in a different voice sometimes. And these are the exact things that do propel my business forward, that do activate and initiate shifts and changes in my relationship so that my relationship with my husband can evolve and grow. But that's not the purpose. So I don't want you to get distracted and be like, okay, I'm going to do this for this result. I want you to just do this for the sake and for the joy of doing it. So what is that thing for you? You have to figure that out. What do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do to express yourself? What do you like to do to just feel free to be you? And sometimes that really is just getting high and dancing in your room. It really is just cooking. And the best way to find what it is that brings you the most joy is when you are scrolling on social media and when you are seeing other people living their best life. Notice those pings that you feel when you're like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Oh my God, like that's amazing. Oh my God, I like love watching content like this. So what is the content that you love to watch? Is it cooking videos? Is it arts and crafts? Is it solo date nights? Is it travel? Once you get clarity on like your greatest desire that you're not doing, but you see other people doing and you feel pings of inspiration or even jealousy, notice that, have awareness around those emotions, and then have the courage to do those things, create space in your schedule to just unapologetically just do things that you want to do. So the reason that this is so important for women, especially high achieving women, one, yes, career, burnout, all of that, but more importantly, your relationship and your marriage, right? So the more you don't take care of yourself and the more you don't prioritize self-love, bitterness and resentment is going to pent up in your marriage subconsciously. And you're going to start nitpicking and judging and scrutinizing your partner. And in reality, what that is the universe nudging you to look at yourself, because our relationships are a cosmic mirror. And if you want a deeper dive on that topic, check out my last week's episode called The New Paradigm of Love, which I'll link here. What happens is once we start to notice the moments of feeling disconnected in our relationship, it is a clear telltale sign that you're feeling disconnected from your feminine essence, because feminine essence is love. It is the embodiment of love. So if you're not feeling love, and once you're noticing those moments of disconnection, you're going to tap into your feminine flow. You're going to go into your little cocoon. You're going to do your self-love rituals. You're going to do your self-care rituals. You're going to create space for yourself to flow, and then emotions are going to start coming up and you're going to feel all of them and you're going to process all of them and you're going to move the energy and you're going to shift it and you're going to transmute it. And then you're going to notice, wow, my relationship is shifting and changing automatically. And now I'm feeling more in love and more connected and more excited about him, about his life, about everything in our dynamic. And it just makes you feel more alive. And the eros and the passion comes back into your relationship. People think self-care is selfish, that prioritizing your alone time while having kids or a husband is selfish. However, those things are actually the very things that make you a better wife and a better mother and just a happier human on this planet. So the more you start to unplug from society's projections and judgments and all of the fucking noise that is out there about what it means to be a good woman and all of this stuff, you'll finally be free enough to go within and honor yourself and your body and ask yourself, what do I need in order to feel completely whole so that I begin attracting more love and intimacy in my marriage. I start attracting more business opportunities in my career. I start to just see my life as a conscious choice rather than feeling like a victim, feeling like I'm burning out of my career, feeling like I'm feeling disconnected in my marriage, and just being completely out of alignment. So the more you practice self-love, self-care, there's all these practices that really do bring you alive, you're going to activate that energy from within and unlock your authentic code and become a pure fucking magnet for everything that you desire. When it comes to love, when it comes to your relationship, even when it comes to freedom, you'll have the courage to travel. You'll have more money, more love, and more freedom, which is literally the key to having it all as a feminine, embodied human being. And truly, for so long, I thought I had to choose between being a really independent powerhouse woman or being in a passionate, deeply loving relationship. And this is because my masculine energy and my feminine energy were at war with each other. But when I started to create space for my feminine to feel safe, to be expressed, and to have that safe space to be fully free, then my masculine and my feminine started to build a relationship together. And instead of being at war with each other, of wanting to achieve, wanting to perform, wanting to build, and then wanting to rest, soften, and create. And once I brought those two together, created spaces for both of those energies to learn how to dance together, I got to align both of these energies within me and truly have it all. Like, now I don't need to choose between I need alone time or I want to spend time with my husband. I have created spaces and practices and rituals and put it on a schedule. And now my feminine essence feels safe and knows that, okay, Sunday nights and Wednesday nights, she is all mine. My inner child knows Fridays, no meeting days. I get to go to the beach, I get to go to the park, I get to do what I want. And then what that does is, if your inner child is fully happy and your feminine energy is fully expressed, then your masculine roles of performing and working and doing the things actually gets to benefit as well. Your husband gets to benefit as well. The masculine energy in the world gets to benefit when a woman is fully alive in her feminine energy and arrows. So the old paradigm always told women you have to sacrifice your freedom, your independence, your creativity, your dreams in order to be a good wife, a good mother, a good whatever. And now in this new paradigm, it's actually the opposite. The more a woman pours into herself, the more her marriage flourishes, the more her kids get to see a woman that is truly alive and happy and not just miserable and sad. In order to be somebody who thrives in this new paradigm, you are going to have to learn how to prioritize self-love and self-care, and it's going to feel uncomfortable at first because it's brand new and it's foreign and it's uncomfortable, because anything unknown is uncomfortable. That doesn't mean you don't do it. It means that you take your time, do it slowly. You don't have to be like me where it's like Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, or, for these things, you can start with a Sunday evening bath. That's it. Like, now I have all of these things where I do the sewing, I do the painting, I do the dancing, I do the writing, I do the bath times, I do it all, but I've built so much space for that to happen. Before I moved out of our home into my own apartment, I barely even had space to dance. I didn't have space to do anything other than just take a bath. And that's all I did. And that was beautiful, and it was so healing for me at the time. Slowly over time, I started to add more things. Once I moved into my apartment, I started to implement more dance. I started to cook more for myself. I started to just sit in grass and in nature and just sit under the clouds and just meditate and tap into the energy around me. And then I started to build community and really connect with other people that were also on this journey of unlearning, unprogramming, rewiring, all of the things, so that we can shift from this hustle culture, patriarchal way of being into this beautiful feminine led way that we nurture and honor our bodies, our souls, our energy, and then from there we get to enjoy the success and the freedom and the relationships and all the things. And the reason that this is also really important is because it really will shift you from anxious or avoidant in your relationships to purely secure, because the more you pour into yourself and the more you fulfill your own needs, you don't need to grasp to connect with others, where your relationship gets to flow as like, hey, I got me, hey, you got you, hey, let's like add to the cherry on top. And that's what relationships should be. They're not these things that you need. They're simply things that you get to enjoy because you consciously choose each other every single day as a mirror to more personal growth and evolution. So when you prioritize the relationship over your personal growth, you're going to stifle the relationship, because if you're not growing in love, you're going to stay stagnant and that relationship is going to die. It's just universal law. And you may not break up because you may just stay in this dynamic because you may be comfortable, but you're not going to be freaking alive from the inside out, and your dreams are going to start to crush and die, and your joy is going to be diminished, and your energy is going to be exhausted, and you're going to be in this cycle of feeling stuck, of feeling stagnant, of feeling like your life is on autopilot. And everybody gets to live this amazing, magical life but you. And the only difference is those people prioritize their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being and are invested in their growth and have a growth mindset and don't like to be comfortable in the comfort zone, because they know that the comfort zone truly is like the devil. Especially in these times where we're evolving really fast with technology, with AI, with the way the world is going. The patriarchy is killing itself. Like, they're going to self-destruct. And we're going to enter a new paradigm. The world is moving on with or without you. So you get to choose. Do I want to hop on the ride and do the work and go where humanity is going? Or do I want to be left behind? And this isn't to scare you. I hope it empowers you to be like, okay, well, I might as well hop on board and start prioritizing my self-care, my self-love, my emotions, my feelings, my expression, my creativity, my joy. Because why not? Do you want to be living in a way that like simply makes you feel like life is happening to you and you have no control and you're just like being whiplashed through the emotions and the circumstances of your life? Or do you want to be the rooted and grounded and secure person that gets to observe what's happening and respond to it versus just react all the time? Like, that's exhausting. That's why you're burnt out. That's why you're on edge. That's why you can't connect in relationships. That's why you can't move forward in your business. And that's why nobody wants to work with you, because you're just this reactive, super emotional, dysregulated person. So if you want to be somebody who is the optimal version of you, the version of you that has business on lock, has marriage on lock, has life on lock, then these are the tools and practices. And like, what are the tools and practices? It's not even hard work. You get to play, you get to rest, you get to create, you get to dance. Like, you get to do things that like truly are just fun. You truly get to just choose whatever you want. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no textbook on it. There's no like one way of doing it and that's the only way. You don't have to meditate for hours and hours and hours unless that's your jam. And that's the whole point. You just have to find what is your jam and do that. And it's going to look different for all of us. It's going to be different for all of us. It's going to be expressed differently through all of us, because the feminine energy and essence has so many personalities and so many ways of being that all of us get to express her in our unique way. Some people like to sing. Some people like to write. Some people like to dance. Some people like to cook. It's literally unlimited possibilities for the way you want to show up and share your magic with the world. And as Esther Perel says, that space is literally the key to desires. The more you prioritize your self-love and your self-care, your relationship, your passion, your intimacy is going to feel more alive, because that is literally the key to intimacy and desire. And you really do have to balance it, right? So if you're somebody who's like hyper independent all the time, then you need to lean into more connected time with your partner. And not be so alone and not be so avoidant and not run and hide the minute you have issues and things come up in your relationship. So really honor, okay, am I codependent? Then you need alone time. Am I hyper independent? Then I need to learn interdependence. So it's about being so consciously aware of where you fall on the chart and then finding the balance. And the balance is a healthy amount of solo time and a healthy amount of connected time. How do you know if you're in balance? You'll be in alignment with feeling alive, feeling regulated, feeling calm, feeling collected, and feeling so passionate in your relationship. The greatest telltale sign that you are not in alignment is if you feel like your marriage is keeping you small, keeping you stuck, keeping you not in flow with your most vibrant self. And it should be the place where you feel like your most authentic, primal way of being is accepted. And if you feel like you can't be somebody who prioritizes self-love or self-care or alone time because your partner gets jealous or your partner doesn't like it or your partner starts to act out, that's a red flag. And it's time to maybe seek therapy, maybe talk to a coach, maybe really seek external help, because a partner should honor your independence and your individuality and not want to stifle it or control it. And the patriarchy wants to stifle and control a woman's freedom, which is what we're seeing in the government right now. So really be mindful. Are these things playing out in your marriage? And if so, then maybe you guys are outgrowing each other, and that's okay. And I want to honor that. And I want to send you so much love, because that is a really hard truth to come and land on when things are happening in our society and you realize that your partner is on the opposite side of where your values lie. So before we even have this conversation, I probably should have had the conversation about aligning on values first and foremost, where interdependence can thrive, so that alone time and time together can be something that you see as equally important, because a woman deserves to have freedom in her marriage in order to thrive in life. And if you don't have freedom in your marriage, then that is something to really take seriously and not to just push away as something that doesn't really matter, because it does matter. And if you're somebody who really, you're watching my podcast, you are watching this video, so clearly you're somebody who does value freedom and creativity and autonomy and spontaneity and adventure. That's the kind of audience I attract. Sometimes we think our partner doesn't want us to have freedom because that's a projection that we have based on our societal programming. So it's so important to have the courage to have those conversations before assuming things. So I want to invite you, if you think your partner is going to be upset if you want to take a couple hours a week to yourself, then let me know. Put it in the comments and I will share with you exact verbiage and words that I think you can use to help, so you can have the courage to have that conversation with your partner so that they don't feel left out or abandoned or neglected. And I promise you, the people that love you want to see you thriving. They want to see you shining. They want to see you happy. And they're not going to push back on you wanting 2 hours a week to yourself. And you deserve that. You are worthy of that. And if you don't know you're worthy of it, then we need to work together. Then you need to hire me to be your mentor, because I will reflect back to you all that I know to be true, because I am able to empower women to remember their divine right to be free, to be autonomous, to be expressed, to be wild, to be free, to be liberated, to just be happy. It's why we're here. Like, you are the cycle breaker of your family. You're not the same as your mom or your grandmother or your ancestors who didn't have choice. You have choice. And I know sometimes it doesn't always feel like we have choice, and that's why it's important to have a mentor or a coach or a guide who can remind you of all the possibilities and choices that you do have, because sometimes we do get stuck in our brains, in our minds, where we're not able to see the full picture. So it's really helpful. My gift is to pull you out so you can have a bird's eye view of all of the things that are actually happening find the pattern so that you can find the root and then alchemize it and transmute it into more liberation, freedom, and joy. Like I said, if you want deeper support in integrating all of this into your life, then I would be honored to be your guide. I have packages and options for us to work together, and you can book a free chemistry call, and then I'll let you know what I see and what I think is the best way for you to move forward. There's no obligation for us to work together, so if you're even just curious or if you really, really need help and you're really, really stuck, a free call is always here for you. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for you this week, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you next time.